Now I've been getting lots of requests and messages lately relating to this camera. This is the Canon EOS 1300D or Rebel T6, depending on which part of the world you are from. Hi, I'm Paul from Photogenius, and in this video, if you've got this camera, I've got some great tips to share. I'm going to show you how to get more from the live view mode, but I'm also going to show you how to set up the Wi-Fi so you can control this camera with your smartphone. Now when it comes to cameras, I'm a bit old school. Now what I mean by that is I come from the film days. So my first camera, much like this Canon 300V, was a film camera. So now when you're using a camera like this, bearing in mind there's no fancy LCD screen on the back, you have to put the camera up to your eye and you have to look through the viewfinder. Now with the current cameras, again, if I'm walking around using the camera handheld, I do tend to look through the viewfinder, but there are times when I've got the camera on a tripod. Maybe I'm doing landscape photography. More likely I'm shooting in low light or doing nighttime photography. And if you're on a tripod, then I think the live view is an alternative or a good alternative to looking through the viewfinder. Now, if you're not sure what live view is, on the back of this camera, there's a little button here with a camera icon on it. And if I press the button, it turns on the live view, which basically means that now you get a live view of what the camera is seeing in real time. And this can be particularly useful. So what I've got today is a couple of tips I want to share with you for when you're using the live view mode on this camera. And don't forget to keep watching, because coming up, I'm going to show you how easy it is to get this camera talking to your smartphone by using the built-in Wi-Fi function. Now, if there's one thing that drives me crazy, it's looking at landscape photos that have wonky horizons. So my first tip will help you keep your horizons horizontal and also your verticals vertical. Now, using the live view mode, I'm going to show you how to set up what is called your grid. It's very easy to do. You wake up the camera, we select menu, work our way across to the fourth red tab and then down to where it says grid display. Now there's three options available. I'm going to turn on number one, which is just called grid one. To select, I press the set button. Now when I turn the live view mode on now, you will see horizontal and vertical lines arranged a bit like tic-tac-toe or a noughts and crosses game. So you've got two horizontal lines, two vertical lines, which will help you keep your horizons horizontal, your verticals vertical, but may also assist you when it comes to composition as well. We're not going to talk composition in this video, I'm going to save that for another day, but you might want to Google something called the rule of thirds. So using the grid view is tip number one, which is particularly good for landscape photography. Now my next tip relates to the display here on the screen when using live view mode. Now at the moment all I see is a square in the middle here. This is my focus point. If I want more information, I simply press the display button here, and now the camera is displaying along the bottom here of the screen my current shutter speed, aperture, ISO setting, and also if I press the shutter button lightly, light meter, which tells me whether my exposure is going to be good or maybe over or underexposed. Press the display button a second time and you get some camera functions that appear over here to the left. Using the Q button you can change these. These include maybe your focus modes or your white balance. Press the display button a third time and we get a live histogram. Now this is particularly useful. The histogram is like a graph based on the light that you're about to capture when you take the picture. Now what you'll see is lots of peaks. You want to try and keep these more to the middle. If you're peaking more to the right, your picture's going to be very bright, possibly overexposed. Too many peaks to the left, dark and underexposed. So this can be a little bit tricky, but the histogram can be very, very useful. So pressing the display button very simply changes the display. Really useful when using live view. Now a quick bonus tip for you is relating to your focus. Now if you're taking a picture and your subject is not in the middle of the frame, maybe to the left or right, you want to be able to move the focus point to the subject rather than moving or changing your composition to suit the subject. Now in live view you can do this really easily. If I turn the live view mode on, I see a square. At the moment it's in the middle, which means the camera will focus on whatever is in the middle of the frame. Using the keys on the back of the camera, I can move the square over to the left, up, down, to the right, or wherever I like. So by taking the square to my subject, that means when I press the shutter button lightly, the camera focuses on the subject. Little bonus tip for you. Now, whilst the T6 or 1300D is Canon's entry-level camera, it does come with some great features. One of them is Wi-Fi. You don't expect that on the entry-level cameras, but this is a very useful feature because what you can do is you can download a free Canon app to your smartphone or similar device like maybe an iPad, and you can then use your smartphone to not only preview what the camera's seeing, but you can also control some of the key features like shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and you can use it as a remote to take the picture, which is a good alternative to using the other remote that you have to buy as an accessory. And it's really easy to set up. I'm going to show you how it's done. Now, to set up the Wi-Fi is very easy. We start by going to the menu, and we want to be in the tools menu here. Wi-Fi/NFC is a good place to start, currently disabled. So I press the set button and I enable the Wi-Fi. I next move on to Wi-Fi function and press set, and I want to choose this option, which is connect to a smartphone. Press the set button, connect, press set again, and connect to a device. Press OK. Now if I go to my Wi-Fi settings, I should see the Canon camera come up as a network. So I'm selecting this, which means the camera will now connect to the device. I've got a tick here, so I'm now going to open up the Canon app. When this is done, you will see a light here indicating the Wi-Fi is connected, and all I do is I connect on remote live view shooting. Now I'm using the phone as a live view of what the camera is seeing. The phone and camera are now connected. We see what the camera sees here. So this is your live view, and down here you can change your settings. So I press, you can hear the lens adjusting in the background. If I press the screen, it moves the focus point. I'm moving it over here to the camera. I'm moving the focus point up here to the Star Wars figure in the background, and you can hear the lens in the background adjusting. The little beep is the camera confirming that it is in focus. Plus I can also change various settings. Here is my shutter speed. Here is the camera's ISO, and you can change these to affect your exposure. When you like what you see, all you do is click here and we take a picture instantaneously. Very easy. Now if you're still here, it's probably because you want to learn how to take better photos with your Canon camera, and I've made lots of videos and I've got lots of great tips to share, so consider watching one of the other videos. I'll put some links up here. I'm also interested to know, what would you like to see a video on? Is there any specific things you need help with? You can leave your comments and suggestions down below. If you've enjoyed this video, it means a lot to me if you give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, or better still, share this video with somebody else who might benefit from what you have learnt. I hope to see you again sometime soon. See ya.